Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Beatty-Yen, the Film Lab CEO, and welcome to Film Lab's Elevating Women in Entertainment interview series, spotlighting people leading the charge in film and television. In these interviews, top industry insiders will share unfiltered insights. And the interview series is free on www.youtube.com/@FilmLabInc. So today, we're thrilled to have not a woman, but the still very cool Scott Foster, the co-founder of ScriptHop, which is an interactive software platform that handles the process and workflow around screenplays. So let's get to it. Scott, thank you so much for being with us today. Just to get started, can you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I am the co-founder of ScriptHop, which is a discovery platform. We're a tech company that develops products for the screenwriting space. I was launching the product we're most focused on now, which is called the Gauntlet, which is 3 levels of professional readers. All our readers are currently working in the business. They're not retired or currently unemployed, as a lot of services depend on those kinds of readers. And I would love to hire those people, but our premise is everybody has some position of power in terms of their reading. They can share scripts where they work. We interview them and ask them, can you do that? What are your relationships with the people at your work, et cetera? And so we have 3 levels of these readers. The top level are writers, working writers, some for pretty big shows and movies, and producers and development executives that's level 3. If your script makes it through all 3 levels of the Gauntlet, we will do everything in our power to get it made. And my main focus of my job these days, though I help develop the platform that we use in the reading process, we developed a really cool technology without any AI. There is no AI used in this. It just helps you so if you go through the Gauntlet and you don't even make it past the first level, you still get 7 professional readers who are working in Hollywood at places that either production companies or agencies, and you get their notes back. And the technology part of it is it does all kinds of things to show you where their notes overlap. We basically are like a development team that then does further revision polishing based on the notes from the Gauntlet to make these scripts as amazing as possible and really get them made, because it's harder than ever to get spec scripts made. And part of the problem in Hollywood is everybody's afraid to stick their neck out. So if you see that, out of these 17 readers, at least 12 of them endorsed your script from all these amazing places, people are going to be much more apt to go, you know what, I'm not going to look like an idiot for saying this is great.
Yeah.
That was a long answer.
But very comprehensive and appreciated. But on that topic kind of sticking your neck out, and given that this is about elevating women in entertainment.
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you about something else that has to do with men and how men can elevate women in entertainment. I was on a panel recently, and there was a well-known female director, and there was a Q&A, and audience members were asking questions. And one of the audience members asked the female director, well, don't you think that women who have made it have an obligation to mentor and bring up other women? And she's like, you know what, I'm gonna push back, because of course we should all help one another and mentor one another as we can. But she's like, sometimes when you're in an industry that is male dominated and you have worked so hard and fought so hard and you are hustling and struggling just to stay exactly where you are without slipping down this muddy slope, to have that burden on top of you, like not only do you have to drag yourself up, you got to drag everybody else up with you. And what about the people that are up in charge? What about the white men who have these power positions or have maybe perhaps a little bit more privilege or a little bit more power in this situation? Do they have an obligation to step up and say, you know what, women make up at least half the world, they are important, they are filled with talent, perhaps I, as a male, should go out and mentor women, should do what I can do to help women up. What are your thoughts on that? And yeah, just what are your thoughts on that?
My first thought is my favorite show of like the last couple years is really almost entirely female generated, I think. The Diplomat with Kerry Russell and Deborah Kahn. I watched it twice, and I can't think of any show I watched twice. Really took women to make this. We need women, we need their perspective to make more awesome shows like The Diplomat. And what do I do to bring about, more of that? Well, we certainly are cognizant of needing to diversify our team. And, honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I want more female readers. We don't have enough, and it's certainly not for a lack of trying.
Hey, ladies, now you know he's looking for readers.
I really do. We definitely hired our marketing person is a woman, and that's 1/4 of our main team and the internal ScriptHop team. And
in terms of kind of mentoring and support, do you think it is important for men to get out there to provide, because that's one of the biggest obstacles women have told us that they face in the industry is the lack of mentorship.
Right. Yeah, well, I would love to explore more of that. I mean, the way we look at how we're doing that now is by the writers we discover, we're mentoring in terms of developing and making the script even better, and then doing everything we can to champion them and make their careers take off. We remove all identity. So the fairness of the gauntlet, and I want to also I'm defining what we are a little bit more here. We're not a contest. So you're not competing against a bunch of other people. Your gauntlet run is just your script going through the gauntlet, and if it's good enough, on its own merits. And we remove all identity because it is a small town, so no one will know, your gender or your name or anything or where you're from. All they know is this script, and is it good?
Yeah, I want to kind of hone in on that a little bit, because it's so, when you first told me about the gauntlet and how you remove everything about the author. So it's really, truly, you are just judging that script on its merits with no preconceived bias whatsoever. It's kind of like blind grading, right?
I'm sorry, kind of like what?
Blind grading.
Yeah.
So how did you come about? What went into, was that for specifically to root out gender and racial bias?
Well, we just wanted to find great writers. I think that was, and that they're, the things that do hold gender against a person, are part of same kinds of prejudices that, that abound, I think, in a lot, when your script goes to an agency or a production company, they're going to know your name and your gender. Absolutely. They don't do anything to remove that. So we definitely thought we just want to make this as fair as possible. And so that's the main thing that drove that decision, was just, if we're going to be fair to anyone entering the gauntlet, and women certainly, remove any bit of identity on that script. The sort of mentoring things that you're talking about, they start to happen there when but we don't really engage with the script other than notes and to this unknown individual. That's how it is handled. Hope I'm answering that.
Yeah, and talk to me a little bit about what that mentoring consists of, if she makes it through all.
Tons of notes. And some people, I'm always like, is this the point where they start to hate me because there's so much back and forth, and I bring in other colleagues. I have a few right-hand people that I've known for decades, and I really know their taste and how they gauge scripts. And at that point, we're meeting with them, we're calling them, a lot of email back and forth with notes, just lots and lots of notes is what I would say is the real mentoring, and I learned through this process too. So helping them to do that is a big part of that mentorship. With our so the woman who does our marketing, she was an intern. And we hired her. And partly we needed, there were too many men. And we were like, it's got to be a woman. And I really liked Olivia a lot. Basically gave her a shot, really, because she wasn't a professional marketing person at that point. but she had done a lot of things for us, really proven herself in a lot of ways, and we brought her in and hired her. And so she's an employee now. So I would say that's one of the coolest things.
To be able to do that,
Yeah,
to get that
hire
up.
from an internship.
Well, I know we don't have much time, so I think my final question to you would be, what advice would you give men about mentoring and supporting women, being allies in the entertainment industry? And, it's a twofold question, what advice would you give women who are seeking mentorship and support, and maybe they would like to go to, they want to be gender blind about who they get their mentorship and support from? What advice would you give?
So men should definitely want to empower women, because I think you want to give them selfish reasons, right? And I think because we get great material out of it, like a show like The Diplomat, again, gives me great things to watch. But no, for me, my reasons are I learn from it. I learn a lot from working with it. If it's all men working at your company, it's limiting you.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to make it about empowering myself again, but I'm just being really raw and honest about why I think, men are looking, what can I gain from this? Well, I learn a lot. Olivia teaches me all kinds of things. The way she handles things are different. So, and I do genuinely want to help. I want to make things better. There is that. I do want to make things more fair. It's been an entirely unfair system. It still is. It's not a meritocracy. So I do want to hire women who are qualified, and I think that's also more fair to women, is to hire the ones who deserve it. So making things a meritocracy, but also going out of your way to make it an equal playing field gender-wise is good for everybody. It's just good for everybody. It's good for my company. It's good for the people I'm helping. It will produce, the whole thing with the gauntlet is we want better material, and it'll produce better material. So I think, I probably only answered one of your questions.
So what advice would you give women who are seeking male mentors?
Boy, if you're really starting cold, then it would be being willing to do some of the jobs that, internships, I guess, doing internships, some things that, and these days I think they all pay for the most part. Some internships, if you're in school, you do it for credit. So doing it while you're in school is a great idea. Doing internships with a company like mine, finding other interesting companies, and then they have a lot of these sort of like shadowing programs where you can shadow a director. Right now I'd be a little challenged thinking of Disney, ABC, some of these fellowships, and working at an agency. So my background is I worked at an agency, which is very male heavy, though becoming more diversified, I would say. And the great thing about an agency is you are in the middle of everything. It is tough, and you have to have a thick skin. It's an abusive place a lot of the time. My jobs were pretty good. At UTA, I ran the store department, and honestly, we had a bit of autonomy there while being in the middle of everything. And that was a great gig. If you can get into a story department somewhere, but also, as an agent trainee, that's a great place to start, because then you can go to other places. You can figure out, I don't want to be in an agent. I don't want to be an agent. I don't want to work at an agency. I want to work in a production company. Well, you can probably get a job easily. They always look, and I haven't looked at the job list in a while from UTA, but It used to always be must have thick skin, and that meant you had worked in an agency. It literally meant like if they see you worked in an agency, then they'll hire you because they figure you can take some of the Sturm und Drang that's going to inevitably happen in, a production or anywhere else in the business, really. So get an agency job, get a management company job. I highly recommend it if you think you can take some of the vicissitudes that will occur there. That's a great gig and makes you very attractive to just about any company in the industry that you can handle yourself.
All right, well, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for sharing. Everybody, Scott Foster, co-founder of ScriptHop.
Thanks, Jen.